What's up, y'all? Welcome in. Thanks so much for being here. If you're watching the replay, amazing. I appreciate you spending some time here with me. We're going live, 8 a.m. every morning, Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern. And I'm here to be a voice, to answer your questions, to just provide a level of comfort. I know a lot of us are sort of stressing out about stuff right now, but I wanted to do what I can here live with you to start your day off the right way and hopefully help you out in any way that I can. So if you have questions, pop them in the comments section. Always happy to answer questions about anything, especially in light of what's going on. Got my morning coffee. Thanks to Mostra Coffee here in San Diego, my favorite coffee place. And I am just looking for a pen here, because I wanted to ask you a question. What does this make possible? So this is the question I wanted to pose to you today. And I wanted to tell you a little quick story. What's up, AV? What's up, Parshell? Thank you for being here. What's up, Tarek? First live. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Let me give you a quick shout out and display your comment here on the stream. What's up, Steve? Cam? Chris, back for day 3, getting ready for lunch on the East Coast. Wonderful. You're in San Diego too. Hope all is well. Chuck in the house. Jeff. Fantastic. Well, in 2008, you might have seen the video that I came out with telling this story, but a lot of you know that I was laid off in 2008. There were a lot of very similar vibes happening for different reasons, of course, but the stock market was kind of crashing and people didn't really know what was going to go on or for how long. I'd gotten laid off. I, unfortunately, just timing-wise, what I mean is I had just proposed to my girlfriend and she said yes. And that's my current wife, April, and she stuck it out with me, which was really fantastic. And I think that's really important, you know, in times like this to stay together. And, you know, for many of us, we don't have really a choice right now because of the quarantining and all that sort of stuff. But it was a tough time for me. I fell into a little bit of a state of a depression for about 2-3 weeks and woke up crying every day, got my dream job taken away from me. It wasn't really great at all. I did watch a lot of Back to the Future, though, a lot. And it made me feel good because it made me hope, or gave me some hope that maybe I could find a DeLorean one day and go back into time and change things, right? Maybe change careers, maybe work a little bit harder, even though I was working as hard as I could. But eventually I realized that, you know, and this happened every time after the movie was over, that that was not going to happen. There is no time machine. Fun fact, did you know that the time machine in Back to the Future was originally, in the first few scripts, a refrigerator? So glad they made it a DeLorean, by the way. Scott, what's up? Anime Molder, how are you? I'm doing well, too, from Morocco. Michael, what's going on, man? I appreciate you. Thanks for the fist pumps right there. We got Brad in the house. Kieran, Ellen, Build Your Own Small Business, Bob, Margaret, 66, Jeff, Chuck. Fantastic. To continue the story, eventually I realized that there was no such thing as a time machine. But there is some truth to the movie Back to the Future. And the truth of that story is, well, although you can't go back to the past, and you know, the way the movie works is Marty McFly goes back to the past. He does a few things, changes a few things, and then comes back to present time. And then everything's different. And although that's not possible to go back into time and change the present, what we can do is change the present to change our future. So eventually I sort of just got out of bed and started to see what else I could do to create something, to take control. Because ultimately that's what I wanted. Even though I had done everything the right way, the way that I was supposed to, you know, 4.0 grade point average, graduated magna cum laude from Berkeley, I still got let go. And it did not feel good at all to have gone and done everything right and still have it all taken away from me in a moment. So that's when I decided that I was going to go online and create something. And many of you know the story. Created an online business to help people pass an architectural exam. And even still, during the recession, that performed really, really well, and it literally saved me. Starting a business and creating. Really, that was the secret. Hence the shirt. Create every day. And I think we have a unique opportunity now, because when we ask ourselves this question, what does this make possible? We have answers, because I didn't have the time when I was working 9 to 5 to do the things that I ended up doing. I wasn't pressured to consider even those options. And now I think this is going to be the start of a lot of people's, hopefully their own version or your own version of a Pat Flynn story in your future. Now, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. But I think we all do have the opportunity to create and to help. And to help you, so I tell this story about how I got let go. And as many of you know, I wrote a book called Let Go, where it's sort of a double meaning, right? I got let go from my job, but in order for me to move into this new space, I had to let go of where I was, which is why I, number one, I'm excited to share that Let Go. If you go and check out my book, Let Go, on Amazon, I made it for free on Kindle for the next 5 days, which is all they give me, but I wanted to give something as much as I could. So if you are panicking, if you are in any way, shape, or form sort of a little bit stressed out about the situation, you can get the Kindle version of Let Go for free at this time. And of course on Audible too, if you sign up or if you have credits for that too. But Let Go definitely goes more into that story, especially into the psyche, into the mindset of what was happening to me around that time, and the things I had to figure out and how to let go of where I was before to get into a new space. The analogy I like to use is like a ladder, right? And maybe I could draw this out for you. So let's go here and create a new layer. So life sort of puts us on this ladder, right, that we try to climb. And if you consider, what they always say, why isn't my pen working? Oh, that's okay. So a ladder, right? So this might be, I don't know, life or the corporate ladder. And of course, we climb this. Now, the hard part about this is the higher you climb, what happens? The higher you climb, the tighter you grip, right? When you climb a ladder, you hold on. So especially if you've dedicated a lot of life, a lot of money, a lot of time into something, the higher you climb in that, the tighter you're going to grip. Unfortunately, if we have to make a change or if something happens, we want to hold on longer, right? We sort of hold on to the last minute. But let's say that you had an opportunity over here. And that's a new ladder. And yes, you'd have to start from the bottom, potentially. Now, if you were a person who was on, let's see here. If you were on this ladder, If you were on this ladder and you want to make a change, sure, you might be able to have 2 hands and 1 leg over, but often this is what we do. We have 1 leg over here. And this is where people get stuck, because you cannot climb 2 ladders at the same time. Or if you want to fully move over here, you gotta let go down there. Just Samson says, "Hey Pat, did you know that Adobe is helping creators by giving them 2 months credit to their account? I sent you and Jess an email about it. Thank you for that. We're actually putting together a page right now on SPI of all the sort of great resources for business owners that are available during this crisis. So in addition to Let Go being something that is for free on Kindle right now, I've also made Will It Fly free too at the same time. So if you do have the time and the ability to just start something and to think about things, so that you can come out of this better on the other end. You can go and check out Will It Fly also. My team and I are meeting later today to see what we could do to... my team and I are meeting today to see what we might be able to do to help even further, for sure. Jeff, a question from Jeff to Just Samson. Is that automatically applied, or do you have to apply for it? That's a great question. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can maybe find some info about this. Adobe credit COVID-19. Adobe Connect extending support in light of COVID-19. We all come together in good times, going to soccer, etc. Starting this week, we are providing free 90-day access for Adobe Connect. Oh, that's not Adobe Connect, sorry. Hold on here. Enabling student access, free at-home creative cloud service. 2 months credit. Yeah, we'll have to... This is not coming up. Adobe, oh, here we go. Adobe is giving 2 months free Creative Cloud. Here's how to get it. Log into your Creative account, cancel your plan. Don't worry, you won't actually be canceling your account. Go through the cancellation steps. Accept the offer. Get your next 2 months free and save, voila, 2 free months. Do you really have to go through those loops in order to make that happen? Jeff says, recently finished Superfans. Great book. Are there any other books available in hardcover, Pat Flynn? Jeff, thank you so much. Will It Fly is definitely available as a hardcover. I'm sorry, it's a paperback. And then we do have a version of Let Go in hardcover, but it's not available on Amazon. It's a color version. That's more of a coffee table style book that was promoted for a Kickstarter campaign. And that's not currently available at the time. Okay, you have to log in, click cancel account. Yeah, it's interesting that they don't make that just sort of available, right? What we're talking about if you're just coming in is you can get 2 months free of Adobe, but you have to cancel your plan, and then you can get, when you go through that sort of approach, you can get 2 months for free. Thank you for that. Big shout out to Just Samson. Build Your Own Small Business says, if you want to buy hardcover from your bookstore, do it from your books. If you want to buy hardcover, order from your bookstore, because Amazon is shipping emergency supplies only. Is that true? I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Amazon shipping emergency supplies only. So let's see what we come up with here. Is Amazon suspending all deliveries except medical supplies? An unclear headline and paywalled article led to some confusion about Amazon's announcement. Amazon announced that it was suspending all deliveries except for medical supplies. Mostly false. What is true? Amazon is temporarily prohibiting third-party sellers from shipping and storing non-essential items at its warehouse until April 5th, so likely impact the products available for fulfillment by Amazon orders in the near future. Amazon did not announce that it was halting shipping on non-essentials. Amazon will continue to ship non-essential items to customers as long as those items are in stock. Products that are not shipped from Amazon's warehouse will not be affected by this temporary policy. Okay, so hopefully that perhaps answers some questions. Snopes is pretty reliable and is pretty quick to sort of get on board with these things. So Russell says, should I have an LLC for a personal brand? I think it can be, well, first of all, I'm not an expert or, excuse me, I'm not an attorney or a CPA. I'd recommend you speak to somebody who is a professional who you might have access to that knows your particular situation. I can share my own opinion and what I might think, but definitely want to recommend that you check to see what makes sense for your specific situation. So for me, I think incorporating, whether it's an LLC or an S Corp or anything like that, I think it's important eventually for you to do so that you could separate your personal and your business. Even though you may be a personal brand and you and your name might be the business itself, it's still important to separate those things for protection of your personal and in case you're held liable for anything, you can protect the personal accounts that you have and the things that you own personally from the business related things. It also helps for organization of business. It helps for tax purposes. It helps for when you have employees. And there are some benefits of going LLC, some tax benefits as well. Although we're kind of in a weird moment right now related to taxes, at least in the US. So we'll see what happens there. But hopefully that helps you a little bit, Russell. Let's see. Jay says, how much is Power of Podcasts? Likely you are speaking of Power Up Podcasting. We currently just ended our sale. We did keep the sale going and the launch despite things happening because there were a lot of people who would benefit from that during this time. But we did pull back our marketing efforts by about 95% because we wanted to not be tone deaf to the situation. So we kept the promotion moving forward. It ended yesterday at 9:30 p.m., so currently it's back at retail price, regular price at $7.99. Although I will say that if you want to start a podcast and you don't have money to invest right now or you're worried about that, there's a ton of free resources right now that you can use to get started and get going. I'd recommend going to YouTube and checking out my free podcasting tutorials from there. Michael Groff says, I have a website that creates content in the outdoor niche, and I'm looking for more ways to increase revenue besides just affiliate revenue and ads. What are some of your suggestions? Merch? Yeah, merch can be a decent opportunity to fill in some gaps, to recommend things that you can create yourself versus affiliate marketing. Now, merch will take some time and effort to create, to design, especially if you are sort of inventing anything or white labeling anything and then selling it. Also, profit margins are much smaller than digital products, just so you know. So I think there could be opportunities for you to create events, both online and off. That could be another way. In addition to that, I think Patreon is a really interesting model that might benefit you as well, to get people to just support you to get access to things early, or special merch, or a webinar or a podcast, those kinds of things. I would definitely make sure you're checking out AdThrive if you are focusing on website ad revenue. AdThrive is one that seems to be paying out the most and has the access to most advertisers as well. Thanks for the tutorials, says Cruz. No worries, thank you. Sunita says, Pat, can a 0 domain authority website uprank a 55 domain authority website? I definitely think so. It depends on a lot of factors. Obviously, there's the idea of the content on the website, time on site, the variables such as session time, just what is written and how much is getting shared, how much speed of website. Yeah, absolutely. I think just domain authority is one of several ranking factors that will obviously help the 55 domain authority website, but I believe that a domain authority website that's 0 because it's brand new can still be as valuable, if not just as, and even more valuable for sure. So this is Tacy Tim speaking about the comments earlier from Just Samson, who is showing us how to get a little bit of a discount from Adobe services right now by going through the cancellation process and then getting 2 additional months essentially for free by going through that. I recovered my Amazon order yesterday, fly fishing gear, hair products, some tools. Thank you. Launch Media says, remind me what switcher you are using for live. So I'm using Ecamm Live in combination with something called a Stream Deck, which is this right here. So this is a tool that allows me to switch from computer to screen to any other devices that I might hooked up with just the push of a button. You don't need the Stream Deck. I can do that without using this tool. But it's making it really great in terms of just making it simple for allowing that to happen. So if you're coming in, welcome in. It's Coffee with Pat. I'm here to answer your questions and just help you out and provide some sort of regularity in the morning, if you will. It's also holding myself accountable to waking up early and just doing what I can to start the day to help others. And I think that we all have that ability to do that. I always wake up and go, okay, how can I help out today? And forcing myself to get up early, number one, and be here for you is allowing me to make sure that I can help out, and it just kind of gets me started for the day in a way where I know that I'm trying to, keep. Honestly, the connection to you this morning, even though we're meeting virtually and just through comments here on YouTube, provides a level of comfort for me on my end too. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. Let's keep going here. Hot Breath Pod says, I'm a comedian with canceled gigs the next 2 months. I just recorded an online comedy writing course to generate some extra income. Any tips on the best way to roll out market this class? I would definitely have some sort of landing page available for people to sign up to it, or maybe even get a free sample of it, especially in light of what's happening right now. You could offer something for free, or a part of it for free, in exchange for just getting the word out there. And we're looking at ways to potentially do that. If you're just coming in, a couple of my books are free right now on Amazon. You can get them on Kindle for free. Let Go, as well as Will It Fly. Perfect for those of you who are going through sort of tough times right now. Let Go is about when I got laid off, and Will It Fly is there to help you get started with something now, so that hopefully coming out of this, we can have something that is definitely available to the world to serve with. Just like Hot Breath Pod here, who just came out with a writing class for comedians, which I think is really great. And this is a great time for, in your niche, I'm sure, with all the canceled gigs out there, you might be able to help the up-and-coming comedian learn some stuff during this time. And I think that's all we can do right now, right, is learn and create and hopefully help and serve each other in this sort of interesting time in the world right now. I think showing up on other podcasts could be a really great opportunity for you as well, and offering some tips on other people's shows or on other people's websites. People are in content creation mode right now, so they're going to need some experts, some knowledge, like the knowledge that you have, to come on, and you might be able to share that. And then you can give access to people to lesson one, for example, for free in exchange for an email address. You could feed people to a landing page to potentially do that. All right. Hey, Pat, I want to learn SEO. Should I learn from you, Tube, or go with paid services? I thought it was learn from you. I'm not an expert in SEO, but I do have a lot of people who are in my camp to help me with that regard. I would definitely explore starting on YouTube to see what might be available for free. I will say that when getting into SEO, there's a million things you can do, right? So I would find that one person who is teaching it in the way that you can respond to and then take action on the few things that are going to make the biggest impact in your business. I would recommend checking out Backlinko on YouTube and start there. Brian Dean, a good friend of mine, has some really clear, really up-to-date advice related to SEO. And also Rand Fishkin. Rand is an SEO expert as well, who has been around in the industry for a couple decades now, and I trust him for sure. Chuck says, Pat, what is your feeling on one-day virtual summits? It's actually something that my team and I are thinking of putting together in light of what might happen with FlynnCon. FlynnCon, my live event that happens in San Diego, which is likely not going to happen anymore. And I'm still in conversation with many people to see what our options are. But a one-day virtual summit is something that still might happen. And it could be a great way to just bring the community together, even virtually, bring the keynotes in, bring the sponsors in, and even potentially give it away for free, just to kind of build buzz and help people. But we'll see what might happen. But yeah, I definitely think it's a good opportunity. I'm doing one live this Friday with a friend of mine, Shannon Irvine, who is putting together a panel of business owners who are going to get together just to talk out loud about the situation, and anybody can access that. I'll have more information about that on the landing page that my team and I are creating very shortly here to help and provide a resource for people. Let's see. Sarah says, listening almost every day during my shift. Good thing this starts after our calls. Thanks for being here, Sarah. I appreciate you. Carrie says, we appreciate you, Pat. I appreciate you, Carrie. It's always good to see your face here in the comment section. Keep up the great work, man. How's the video? How's the live streaming stuff going? Chris says, Pat, I'm working on a podcast. I have 3 episodes recorded and ready to go. That's perfect because I would recommend launching with 3 so that you can have more content for people to absorb on day 1. Good idea. I also have a good idea for an ebook. Would you suggest waiting to build up an audience first? No. If you have the opportunity to create an ebook or a lead magnet of any kind, having that sort of inserted early on, even if you don't have an audience set, is really important. Not vital, but it's important because think about it. People are going to find you maybe next week, maybe a month, maybe even 2-3 years from now. They're going to go back into your archive, and some of them loves to start with episode 1 or the early episodes, or some of those episodes might be more relevant, in which case they're going to see that there's an opportunity to get access to something like an ebook that you might have, and that's an opportunity wasted if that's not in there. Now, it's not the end of the world if you don't have the ability to create that right now and then insert it into the podcast. You can start creating it now even before you have an audience, but publish the episodes, and then as soon as those the ebook is ready and available, I would just start to mention it on your show. And even if you don't have an audience yet, people go back and they listen. It's not like a social media post or not like the comments here on YouTube, which it's sort of like kind of shared for a minute and then gone forever. Podcasts are very, very evergreen, which is one of the benefit of them. Well, this YouTube Live just saved me $105. Thanks to Samson and Pat for hosting. Hey, there we go. We're just I'm being a sort of conduit for people here to help each other, and I love that. So thank you to Samson. Rhino says, thanks, Pat, for these videos. Listen while doing yard work. Thank you, Rhino Dog 34. Hopefully you're still doing some good yard work, and hopefully that gave you a smile hearing your voice, hearing your message there. AD says, I noticed your poll last Friday mentioning live website reviews and critique. Is this something you would still be open to at some point? Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking for easy ways to make it happen because we had a little bit of a hiccup when trying to do that live where I'm not able to see your websites if you enter them in. So we're going to have to figure out how to manage that, and I will be doing more live site reviews because this is, again, a great time to go back to the things that you have and optimize them, make them look great, all those sorts of things. Ooh, these headphones are making me warm. Okay, let's keep going here. Steven says, Pat, first time here, bought pup, new student. What are the hours or days that you do this YouTube Q&A? So thank you, Steven. I appreciate that. This is sort of a thing that I just put together since everybody's now sort of holed up in their home, and I'm doing it 8 a.m. every morning, 8 a.m. Pacific. This is in addition to the office hours that you get access to every Thursday too, being a student of mine. So you will be able to have access to me quite a bit. So this is a great opportunity, and thank you again for being a student. Get through those lessons, watch those videos, whatever you can get in, and start to take action on that if you can, because now's a good time. You know, creation is sort of what I'm leaning into right now, and I'm recommending other people lean into during this time. So thank you again. I appreciate you. All right, David D says, do you have any advice for podcasting about cannabis? Hard to get affiliates on board. Trying to build now to catch the wave before full legalization. Yeah, I think now it's really going to be about audience building and connecting with other industry leaders. That's what's going to give you the most bang for your buck. And although you might not be able to monetize right now through affiliates, it can be something that could provide a really great opportunity for you later on. So you're sort of digging your well now before you get thirsty, essentially. So building that audience, showing up as an authority, and the biggest benefit I think would be to connect with other industry leaders or other companies. Invite companies on the podcast to be a guest and to ask questions about the industry and what's happening, and obviously promote their product if possible. And you can work with those companies directly to potentially have some affiliate opportunities. But if not, it at least will help you start relationships so that when all things sort of become legalized and you're then able to sort of take advantage of those situations, well, you'll already have those relationships, and brand new people coming into space won't have such a relationship. And that's what I would focus on. So Nita says, Pat, how do you get backlinks? Nobody replies to my emails, which I send to them. Trying to get backlinks by sending emails and asking for them is going to be very difficult. It's not very personable. It seems like it's a very much, and I understand this from my point of view because I get people asking me the same thing. Hey, Pat, I have an article about this. Can you put it on your website for me? It would be really helpful. And even if it is a valuable article, because you're asking for something that is for you first, it always comes across, and I'm not saying that it comes across in the way that you do it, but for me personally, it just always comes across as sort of reaching, right? The way to get backlinks from other people would be to offer value to them in some way, shape, or form, to reach out to them and see what they might need help with specifically, to offer one-to-one direct help in some way, shape, or form. So if you have a special skill, for example, reaching out to a person who has a website and not asking them about a backlink, but just simply offering what you could do to help and building a relationship with them could potentially lead to, for example, you writing a guest post about your thing, in which case then you'd be able to add a backlink, or them getting so interested in what you have going on that they're going to invite you on their podcast, and in which case, obviously, they might link to you after that. Or the ability for you to go after you help them when they go, hey, okay, so Sunita, what can I do for you? You can just say, hey, I'm trying to build backlinks, and if there's any opportunity for me to sort of offer links to any helpful resources on my website from yours to help your audience, always come from a place of service, and that can work out much better for sure. Frank says, hey, Pat, we're all seeing a huge uptick in web traffic, but this has curated a whole lot more browsing and lower number of conversions for PPC. Are you seeing this advice? I think this is just the nature of what's happening right now, Frank. I think what this really means is we need to really, really hone in on what we can do to capture those people's attention who are there sort of just browsing. So this is headline copywriting is going to be very important. If you're sending emails, guess what? Everybody else is sending emails now too. So focusing on your subject lines and perhaps using other mechanisms and getting creative. Maybe it's exit pop-up intents that really captures people's attention, and hopefully you can do it in a graceful way that captures people's attention and maybe offer something for free. Maybe there's something on your website that wasn't offered before because there was no need to, but now in light of what's happening, you could really capture people's attention and help them get into, for example, an email list to get something that would be really helpful to them right now. Ajay says, I want to start a site on affiliate marketing, so where should I focus more, personal branding or authority site? What are the key factors that you would recommend to me? So I'd recommend, how might you become a resource? How would you show up for them during this time or even later? And think of it from the perspective of an audience member. I think authority sites play on SEO, which is great, but branded sites to you personally play on relationships, which is also great. So why not both? Why can't you create a personal brand that is an authority site? I think that if you were comfortable showing up and having sort of becoming that voice about a particular product or industry, and then honing in on a specific niche within that, I think that could work out really, really well. Tim says, let's see, have had my podcast for about 1 year now, and I've recorded over 106 episodes. I want to get more downloads and take it to the next level. What do you recommend that I do? Number one way to grow your podcast is to get on other people's podcasts right now, but by far the number one. The number two thing you can do is find owners of groups like forums on Facebook and what have you. And what you can do from there is invite them on your show, because more than likely, if you give them the opportunity to have a platform, your podcast, to speak, to look like a hero, to shine, they're going to be likely to share that in front of their groups too. The Accidental Inventor says, Pat, thanks so much for the support you are offering. Very generous of you. Thank you. I'm not here to be recognized for the support. I'm here to support. But thank you. I appreciate that. Speaking of support, by the way, my books Let Go and Will It Fly are now available for free on Amazon for the next 5 days. It's all Amazon allows. If I had it my way, I would allow them to be free for as long as this is going on. So for Kindle, Will It Fly and Let Go, about my story about how I got laid off and how I became an entrepreneur, that's Let Go. Will It Fly is the step-by-step how to start a business, which is the perfect time right now to do that. So hopefully that might help. So Let Go and Will It Fly for free on Amazon right now. Lewis says, hey, longtime follower here. Your Ask Pat podcast on SoundCloud in 2014 got me pumped for cycling. Wow, I haven't heard about my show on SoundCloud in a long time. My big question is, what's your current thoughts on giveaway competitions in 2020? So giveaway competitions. Giveaways are always great to build buzz and to generate more leads. However, you do have to worry that you might not be getting the right leads. And this has always been the worry. It's not just 2020. What I would recommend is, number one, if you're going to do giveaways, give away something that's related to your niche or brand, something that people outside of the space are probably not going to be interested in. Number two, silo those email subscribers so that after the contest or competition ends, you can then remove them if they are not active with you later. So you can do some follow-up sequences maybe for 14 days, 21 days, and anybody who doesn't engage with you during those 21 days are likely people who have just signed up just for the contest or competition or whatever. And then you can remove those people so that you can then focus on the ones that are there that are worth your time. All right, I saw a super chat come in. I have to give a big shout out to Ellen here. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'm not here to sort of raise money, although any money that's earned here in this super chat is going to be donated to those in need right now. So thank you so much, Ellen. I appreciate you for that. Taking the opportunity to say thank you for in a more tangible way. Really appreciate all the time, energy, wisdom, humor, etc. that you offer. Thank you so much, Ellen. I appreciate that. Hey, thank you, Ellen, for the super chat. That's going to be donated to somebody in need, likely food bank related things that are happening in San Diego right now. So thank you for that. All right, let's keep going through these questions here. We're just banging through them until the top of the hour here. AM says, Pat, you are a total boss. Why does my website rank on first 3 results, but same SEO agency can't make it rank higher in other countries? Best to have SEO on your site for each country. Different countries work in different ways, right? Like think of different countries in Google as their own sort of entities, and it really depends on people from that country and their interaction with your website and how they behave, meaning time on site, session time, impressions are really important too. So if these are other countries that, for example, would respond better to their own languages, well, then it's likely that you're going to be ranked a little bit lower, mostly because, well, yes, you might show up, but people aren't clicking. So the click-through rate is another important factor when it comes to SEO. So title of the page and how people might respond when they search for it and then click. The impressions, the higher the percentage of the sort of click-through rate, meaning clicks per impressions, is going to matter for your rankings as well. So Doug says, releasing an extensive COVID-19 podcast next Tuesday. 95% fact from research, 5% articles that suggest it's more than just a virus. Yeah, I mean, it's a pandemic, obviously, but one that's going to have long-term ramifications, and it's going to be a whole new world on the other side of this. I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities for different things that may not have been seen before as opportunities. It's going to be interesting to see how companies respond to this related to, for example, remote work. How does this change that? Does it become something that becomes more of a part of just everyday life in terms of companies and how they work with employees? We'll see what happens, but congrats on the upcoming podcast. Good luck with it. Devin says, can't afford to pay executive talent salaries. Would you give them shares in the company to bring them on board or tackle startup as... Hold on one moment, guys. I have to respond to this. Hey, sorry, fellas. I've been going live. Just responding to a text. Hold on one second. Okay, let's see. So back to Devin's question. Can't afford to pay executive talent salaries. Would you give them shares in the company? Maybe. I mean, I think it's hard to know the situation, Devin, specifically, because I'm not involved, obviously. So, I worry about sort of dilution of the company as a whole if you do something like that. Perhaps there's some other pro bono things that you could do. So that you can maybe help these people in exchange or find other benefits in terms of joining your team or being on the advisory board or what have you for whatever it is that you're doing. Your phone is blowing up, bro. Yeah, I didn't even hear it. That's funny. Let me silence this. Thanks, AV. I'm focused on you guys. That's right. That's why right now. I think that when bootstrapping, focused on a lesser experienced team, I think experience is important, but also you might be able to find some unicorns in your search to find people who, although they might not have the experience, they have the sort of drive, they have the education. I think experience is just one part of it. I think hiring for culture is another thing too. Let's see. Fred says, Pat, two-parter. Number one, could you talk about pod fade and how you would combat that? Pod fade number one is when you get to like episode 7 of your podcast, eventually you start to die down and start to lose momentum. And this is very common because we get really excited in the beginning about things and then it starts to become like a chore and we get sort of held back. A big factor in pod fade is coming up to that point where you're like, okay, well, you're waking up and you're like, oh man, I have to create another podcast episode this week. I don't know what it's going to be about. What am I going to do? You start to feel stressed about it. So I think one thing that can help you is to get ahead on your editorial calendar. I mean, by far, that's going to be the most helpful thing. And then number 2, always remembering why you're doing this in the first place and potentially connecting with those individuals who might have started listening to your show already. Even if it's like 5 people who've listened to your show, if you know there are real people there on the other end, it's going to fire you up to keep going for sure. And number 2, no matter how many times I ask my listeners to reply with comments or some kind of CTA, no one ever responds, ideas. And that's because podcasting call to actions are much, much more difficult. They are perhaps on the go, running at the gym, or what have you. Sorry, I'm just making sure. They're on the go, so it's really hard to get them to comment. So providing some incentives such as, hey, for this episode alone, for example, go to the blog. Here's an easy link to get there, and I'm going to reward one lucky commenter in the next week with, free access to my course or, I don't know, a free copy of my book or what have you. That often will work, just a little bit of incentive, because just communicating alone is not going to be enough often to get people to open up their app, to go into, their browser, especially while on the go. And then, of course, if you have an email list, reach out to those people on the email list to comment as well. That can directly help. All right. Cool. Silencing the phone. There we go. Is it here? Where are we going? Do not disturb. Okay. Sorry about that. And again, Ellen, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate you. Sunita, hey Pat, how would you apply price range selector in my website? There may be some plugins that you might be able to use. I would say that if you are looking to and focusing on a feature like that, and it's a struggle, you're not able to sort of find a solution for that or have somebody build that for you, I would just recommend not worrying about a price range selector. I would just have specific price ranges just sort of shared right there that people can see and focus on. Let's see. Feedtrex, is affiliate marketing hard to get started now as compared to past years? No, it's actually easier because there are so many more options of things that you could potentially promote. Look for a product that you might already use that you can find to be helpful to your audience too. Reach out to that company if they don't have a public affiliate program, or look on their website and you might be able to see something called affiliate program, partnership program, referral programs. It's not harder today. The harder one is where the harder aspect of affiliate marketing is if you don't have, if you're starting from scratch, obviously it's going to be hard to recommend something. People don't trust you, yet you don't have an audience. Yes, you can pay for ads to share those products with people, but it's going to be a lot of experimentation to get the right messaging to get people to convert for not knowing you. So build that audience, and even if it's a small audience, if you're known for something, you can become the curator for them. And that's really the purpose of affiliate marketing, is you being able to be the curator who helps sort of filter all the information, all the product recommendations out there to find the ones that make sense for your audience. All right. Ross says, Pat, you are great. Given a great thought about offer. Free. Hats off. I'm looking at branding marketing professional trying emotional intelligence. Any recommendations? Appreciate it. Branding marketing professional trying on emotional intelligence. Not quite sure what you're asking for. I'm looking at branding marketing professionals trying on emotional intelligence. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking for. So please let me know what you mean. RA can perhaps better answer your question from there. Roy says, question, Pat, who are the top podcasters you listen to during this season of your journey and why? Are they friends, peers, mentors, coaches, cheerleaders, etc.? I know you will inspire me. Us. Thank you. Roy, to be honest, I'm not listening to podcasts. A lot of them are mentioning sort of what's going on right now. I am not in my podcast because I want to provide some regularity for people on my show. I will say that the shows that I have listened to that have addressed this, it just makes it even harder, to be honest, even though they're being more inspirational. So I'm actually not listening to podcasts. I'm here live, being with you. I am creating video content. I am writing. I am focusing on my team and what we could do to plan for the future. So I'm not in consumption mode right now at all. I'm in let's take action mode. The only thing I'm consuming are things that are related to my business that are affected by this sort of thing that's happening in terms of, taxes, government, things that might affect my business. Sleepy Bookworm, is it really too late for a woman of a certain age to start a podcast about entrepreneurship? No, heck no, not at all. You can check out the episode 275 of the SPI podcast. You'll listen to an episode with Dr. B. She's over 60 years old, and she was deathly afraid of technology. And her podcast, although not about entrepreneurship, was something that would be extremely helpful for people, and just like I'm sure yours would be in the way that you would teach it. Likely, people who are a little bit older could use a voice in that space in the world of entrepreneurship, who are people trying to get started. And Dr. B started a podcast about ADHD, and now she has fans. She has listeners around the world in 50 plus different countries. She's doing amazing, and she's over 60, and she was able to do it. So no, you are not too late. Nobody is. Doug says, Pat, trying to send support. I can't seem to get by on Super Chat to work. Doug, I just appreciate the attempt. You don't need to do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. AM says, how did your first physical product that you sold, like the SwitchPod, do? Share your thoughts on what you learned and what you would do again. So I have some videos on YouTube if you want to go into a lot of the details and lessons related to what worked and what didn't. But it is going very well right now, although, of course, because of what's happening, we've seen a little bit of a dip, but we are still selling every day. I think a lot of people who are now realizing that they have the opportunity to do some vlogging at home are getting to the point where they can, start something, and many of them want tools like the SwitchPod to help them, which is really neat. We have gone through our first batch of inventory. We ordered 10,000. We've sold nearly all of those. We ordered another 5,000, and although it's delayed because of what's happening, they're on their way. And we released a new product to go with that called the SwitchPod Ball Head, which lives on top. And you can even see it on Amazon. By the way, if you haven't learned yet, my book Let Go and Will It Fly are now available for free on Amazon. So if I look up the SwitchPod here, you can see 53 reviews. It's doing extremely well, and it is selling. It is selling on B&H as well, and we are even in discussion at this moment in time with big box retailers that you may have heard of before to potentially do some experiments to get in the stores, although that's probably going to be suspended for the moment. But yeah, it's going extremely well. Very, very grateful for the opportunity to have done that, and to see it in people's hands is just an incredible feeling. Made a lot of mistakes along the way, but it did take a long time to get here. We worked really hard and was very open with the process along the way, which made it a lot easier when we launched, for sure. Hey, Tasty Tim, what's up? Thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate you, my friend. Just want to say thank you for providing so much value to me. When I started my agency a few years ago, I listened to a pod that talked about you and your 10-year anniversary of your layoff. This episode gave me hope. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for that. Applause to you for the super chat. Everybody follow Taken on YouTube if you have the opportunity to do so. Thank you so much. Stephanie's asking here, do you think it's a good time to launch a podcast? Absolutely, 100%. I'm very bullish on that right now. We have time. Everybody's connecting virtually. It's something that you can get up and running as people are finding more time to consume. So I definitely think that is something. Yeah, for sure. 100%. What? Look at Doug here. It says, no way, Sleepy. This is to the comment about, am I too old to start a podcast about entrepreneurship? No way. You can do it. I'm approaching 70, over 100 episodes. Love it. Pat got me started. Thanks, Pat. You're amazing, Doug. Way to go. Sleepy says, thank you for the encouragement, Pat. I will invite you on my podcast when I figure it all out. You will figure it out. Looking forward to that. Hot Breath Pot says, hey, Pat, what service do you use to host your online courses? I see each class site has specific lesson breakdowns and individual access. This would be perfect for my comedy writing course. So I use a platform called Teachable. I'll show it to you here. If actually you go to smartpassiveincome.com through Teachable, that is an affiliate link, by the way. This is the platform here. So, yeah, and if you actually upgrade through my plan, you can get started and get $866 worth of a bundle, apparently, for free. Anyway, this is the platform I use. Full disclosure, I am an advisor for the company. I'm an affiliate as well, but smartpassiveincome.com/teachable would be it. Let's see. Sunita says, hi, Pat. What mindset would we or must we develop to be successful in this field? Grit, perseverance, understanding that failure is a part of the process of entrepreneurship, understanding that it's going to take a lot of trial and error, understanding and being okay with reaching out to others and hopefully collecting a lot of market research, having conversations to help serve your target audience is going to be really key. Patience is a part of the process. Getting over the fears that you might have in your head, rewriting that story of fear and turning it into excitement, because that's the same part of the brain that fires up with fear and excitement. Let's see how we do in here. Okay, so I got 5 minutes to answer more questions for you. Let's see. Other mindset. I think that the most important thing is you got to believe that it can happen. And your brain is going to look for ways to prove yourself wrong, but those are likely just stories you're telling yourself. They're not actual truths. The truth is people have done this before, so you know it's possible, and it's really just you're either going to get in your own way or you're going to help yourself out. So this mindset question is absolutely huge. Professor of Perseverance is in my name, absolutely. So there's a quote by Henry Ford that is, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Your mindset is the biggest part of this process for sure. Which call to action play very intense and quick role in affiliate marketing? Which call to action strategy plays very, I don't know exactly necessarily what that means, but I will tell you that showing people what they're going to get before they get it is important, and understanding the benefit of it, not why, not the features, but the benefits, really. Are you familiar with the free podcast service Anchor? Any pros and cons? Yeah, I mean, obviously the pro is that it's free. The con is that it's free. My recommendation is to go with a tool like Buzzsprout because, number one, you get to control it more. We've seen it time and time again with these platforms that are free. We've seen it with Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, all the others. They're going to eventually have to make money in some way, shape, or form. So they'll start to control a little bit about what the experience is like for the end user related to ads and things like that. And I hate that because it just affects the quality of what's going on. And so I would worry about Anchor getting to the point where they need to eventually pay back their investors and mess with the content or control it in some way. I would recommend also putting skin in the game a little bit. Even a small dollar amount will go a long way. And this is why 95% of the podcasts on Anchor have faded away. So it's a very small percentage of active podcasts on Anchor because everybody's starting it for free. And then guess what? There's no loss if they quit, rather than you investing some time and money up front into a podcast and having skin in the game to then push forward and persevere through that. All right, Pritpal says, I'm a side hustling, but from last 1.5 months, unable to spend any time on my blog. How can I ensure that I spend some time every day on my blog to make it grow? I mean, put it in the calendar, that time, even if it's 30 minutes, just even writing every single day, maybe before you wake up, or writing before you wake up. No, that would be insane. Writing in a moment of time when perhaps before everybody else wakes up, just giving yourself that time every day, a little bit goes a long way. And just being and honoring that time block is really key. Let's see. Did you know if when you click on Amazon to get your Let Go book on Kindle, you have the option to get Audible for $7.49 versus $10.47 by itself? No, I did not know that. That's really cool. Thank you. Let's see. Watching SwitchBot demo video and it's slick, can handle all that weight. Yes, over 100 pounds we've put on it with no problem. Fret Buzz podcast says, I know you are planning on hitting YouTube harder in the future. Other than live shows, what is your visionary plans for the future of your channel? So definitely a lot more, just probably a little bit more frequent now that I have more time to do it, answering a lot more questions, and most of all, just becoming more comfortable with my voice and who I am and being silly me and showing up for my audience there for sure. So that's really the plan. All right, we're gonna go 3 more minutes, as many questions as I can. Junaid says, hi, Pat, great to see these awesome lives. Thank you so much. Every morning, 8 a.m., put it in your calendar. Every morning I'm going live here for the meantime as this stuff is going on. I might shift these live streams over to another channel. If for those of you who are interested in potentially seeing those, I would recommend checking out Flynncast. So if you go to patflynn.com/Flynncast, you can subscribe there. When I get to a few hundred subscribers, I'll be going live there more often. Even bringing my family on if you're interested in that to talk about what's happening during these times. That's going to be mostly outside of business related stuff. And the business stuff I'm going to keep here, so I'll still be going live here. But if you want to check out Flynncast, patflynn.com/Flynncast, you could subscribe. I think we're close to 100 subscribers there. 0 videos there right now, but I will be going live later on. All right. Pal says, how can I ensure that I spend some time every day? Oh, we answered that question. Journey Through the Gate says, firstly, highly recommend your course. I'm on episode 51. Congratulations. Thank you, Pat Flynn. Do you have thoughts about recommendations on doing a YouTube live? Just go live and try to answer people's questions. Perhaps if you don't have a lot of audience right now, go in with a topic in mind. That way it can still be used and searchable after. Let's see. Hey, Pat, thoughts on emerging tech like VR, AR, doing anything exciting? I mean, yeah, AR for sure. I mean, I have, what am I looking for here? I mean, this is the future of entertainment, of education. Getting up on your Oculus Quest. So yeah, I'm a big fan of VR and AR, and I think it will pick up in the future, obviously. So I think learning about it and finding some sort of position within it that you could sort of own, whether that's a particular game or gaming platform, or perhaps how you might be using it for education or teaching others using it in a specific niche, could be really interesting. Cool. Guys, I have a call that I have to go to, so I apologize I won't be able to answer more of your questions, but I would love to help serve you again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., for an hour every morning. As long as the stuff is going on, I'm here to serve you. So hit me up with a thumbs up if you have the opportunity to do it. I'm going to head out and take some calls and start my day. Hopefully this helped start your day in a great way too. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that. And I hope that you have an amazing time and stay safe, stay happy, stay comfortable, stay connected, and yeah, come back on tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. I'll see you here and again answer as many questions as I can for you. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow.